And back then it was semi. I mean, it was like on the borderline where it wasn't so important, but it started getting important because the more competitive Amazon got, the more important it was to really have like beautiful listings to stand out and beat your competition. Before then, it wasn't so important. You just slapped on a product on Amazon, and the next day it started selling. But these days, it's almost impossible. You really have to. I mean, it's really a must. You can't get away with just a standard basic listing.
Welcome, fellow entrepreneurs, to the Entrepreneur Adventure Podcast, where we talk about Amazon wholesale and how you can use it to build an e-commerce empire, a side hustle, or anything in between. And now, your host, Todd Welch.
All right, so I've got Mac Schlesinger with me today. He is the CEO of Bestseller Listers. He's done private label in the past, and now he's built an Amazon agency. And I'm bringing him on the show today. We're going to talk a little bit about optimizing listings and just ways that we can get more traffic to listings on Amazon. So, Mac, I really appreciate you joining us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this crazy world of Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Todd. First of all, it's a pleasure having me. Thanks for inviting me. Your special, amazing podcast. I'm looking forward for a great time.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me.
So you want to hear about my story, about my...
Yeah, how'd you get into selling on Amazon?
I mean, it's a long story. I don't think we'll have time for the whole of this. I mean, I did a previous podcast with someone like specifically about my story. Maybe we'll add a link to that. But for the long story short, is basically I started selling on Amazon around 8 to 9 years ago, probably like 2012, that range, I think. So I mean, the way I got into it was also a whole story. I started like I went to the mall, buy products, which I didn't know what I'm doing, whatever. So after all this hustle and bustle, I started with a private label. I think private label was back then like a pretty new, like a thing. So I got into it. I bought my stuff from China, like everyone else, and built a brand, created a brand, the name, the logo, everything. And I started selling, like everyone else. So as time went on, I realized, that's, it's working well, but it's not really covering the bills. But by then I was already married, I had a few kids, I had a big overhead. So,
yeah, for sure.
So at that time I took on a job, which is, actually a friend found out about like what I'm doing on Amazon. He knew about a different friend that had like a big Amazon company and was looking to hire like Amazon managers. So I was hired for that job. And my responsibility was basically building up their sales and building up their listings, making sure all of the listings are optimized, top-notch, and everything like the content, the images, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And back then, I didn't really know what my specialty is. I was just like an Amazon seller. But as time went on, the more work I put in, I realized that my specialty and my talent is in the creative part, which is creating the content, the keywords, the writing, the pictures, the graphics, and all of that stuff. So I was working there for a year, and meanwhile, I had a coworker that knew about it, and he shared the word with other people. Basically, the word went out that I know how to create listings. So it was interesting because I was working at the job, and people came to me like privately asking me to do their listings, and I did it on the side. Whatever. Long story short, I saw that this is my specialty. This is what I like doing. This is what I'm good at. And people pushed me to start my own agency doing it. But back then, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, like owning an agency or talking to people. I was very like quiet and shy. I was trying to hide in the side. But as more as I did it, the more people pushed me, I did it. I quit my job and I started the agency, and I started promoting myself in the business, and the word got out there. Fast forward to now, we have like a big agency. It's like over 12 people. It's a combination of writers and graphic designers, photographers, and project managers and whatnot. And we are dealing, like we are servicing like hundreds of Amazon sellers every day from all over the world, basically.
Nice. That's awesome. I love to hear people's backstory because they're always so varied and kind of all over. And And what I really like about your story is that, you went into private label, and what some people might see as a failure, since you're not still doing that, in reality, every failure is just a learning experience, right? Because you took the skills that you learned and you actually took a job working for someone else, which I think is a great way for people out there who are maybe trying to get into this, but things aren't going the way they want them to go. If you take a job doing this kind of stuff, you can learn a lot doing that kind of stuff and help build your skills. And you built it into a consulting agency because other people seen your skills. And like you said, even though you didn't have, you weren't completely, confident in your abilities, other people seen you as the expert. And I think that's important for people to know too, because I feel that way a lot of times. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but other people look at me as the expert. Right. And I think that's a really important thing, that we're all just kind of learning as we go along. So I really like your backstory and how you've turned it into a pretty much a success story and a successful consulting agency.
I know, because it's very interesting sometimes in life in general, so sometimes you feel like you're going through something, you feel like at zero below. For example, I felt like I had my business, I was working for myself, and no boss, nothing, and then all of a sudden I had to go back work with someone. So, but at that time it's probably like a painful moment, but that really helped me to get where I am now. Without that, I probably would never had that agency and all this trust and confidence that I got while working over there.
Yep. Yeah. And I think it's important to know too, that where you are today isn't necessarily where you're going to be in the future. But as long as you're learning and keep moving forward, you never know where things are going to take you. You can just keep growing and getting better at things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For sure. So now you've got a nice size agency. Things are going well. I'm sure things are crazy for you guys this time of year in Q4, or are you guys kind of calmer during Q4 because everybody was doing everything before?
So that's also the problem, because the last few months was very busy because people prepared for Q4, so we had to catch up with everything. We're now a little bit behind because we wasn't expected that traffic. But now it's supposed to be calmer, but we're always dealing with the late, how do you call it, like the people that remind themselves the last minute, like last minute people. And now they want everything yesterday, it's Q4, this season is here, let's get it done, Yeah. But so it was always busy,
Yeah, that's something you learn with the experience, that you can't wait to the last minute in e-commerce. If you're in Q4 and you're just trying to figure out what you're going to do, then you're too late for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you guys specialize in, or what's your main focus in the agency?
So the main focus is basically setting up, creating all of the concepts, all of the parts of the listings, which is the writing, the keywords, the photos, the graphics, the EBC, whatever, A+, descriptions, the whole page. We're setting up the whole page. That's our main specialty. And then we have different services, like side services, which helps build up the listings, helps build up the seller account, that kind of stuff. But the main focus and the main specialty is the creative part, which is creating all this content, pictures, and descriptions and stuff like that.
How have you seen that stuff kind of change over the years been doing it? Is it more important, less important? Or
yeah, so it's funny because I started this around 4 years ago, and back then it was semi. It was like on the borderline where it wasn't so important, but it started getting important because the more competitive Amazon got, the more important it was to really have like beautiful listings to stand out and beat your competition. Before then, it wasn't so important, you just slapped on a product on Amazon and the next day it started selling, But these days, it's almost impossible. You really have to, it's really a must. You can't get away with just a standard basic listing. Really need to optimize it, make sure to have the top-notch, the writing copy and the keywords and the pictures to stand out, the main photo especially, and all those infographics and lifestyles and EVC and video. These days it's either win or bust. There's no other option.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting being in the wholesale world and selling lots of other people's products. Just how bad some listings are out there. And surprisingly, some of them are doing pretty well, but it really makes you think about how much better they could be doing. And it frustrates me because I'm trying to help these companies and stuff like that. And a lot of them just don't see the benefit in fixing up their listings and stuff like that.
No, but when it comes to wholesale, it's still not so necessary to have like really beautiful pictures, because some brands, their brand name is selling everything. So as long as they have their brand name in the title and the listing and on the picture, they see right away the packaging, it's selling because people are actually looking for it. So it's not so necessary to have like a top-notch listing. It's mainly necessary for the clients that we deal with. It's like just random private label brands. It's basically brands that people are not aware of. So for that, it's very important.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. It just makes you really wonder how good those products could be if they actually fixed up their listings. And what's really frustrating is when I run across the brand where Amazon is selling a lot of their products, and 95% of the time, those are like the worst listings on Amazon. Just crazy.
Because it's very interesting. I'm right now because I have a client that he's selling already for 10 or 12 years. So he's still used. His mind is still in the back days, which listing count is not so important. It's more important to run advertising and stuff like that. I had to work really hard to convince him that your listings look really bad, and your competitors, I'm sure your competitors, look how nice it is. Why should a customer choose yours versus the competitors when theirs are much nicer? So in the beginning, I had to fight with him. He said, "No, it's fine. That's not the case in Amazon. Amazon, it's not important. Whatever." So I told him, let's give it a try with 3 products. It's a small investment. Try it out and see what happens. If it doesn't work, then we move on. And we took 3 of his products and we fixed it up. We fixed up all the content, all the keywords and the images, made beautiful images. We added the EBC description. And a week after uploading the listing, he saw such an increase, such a difference that he was like, "Wow, I'm so sorry for arguing with you." He told me, like, "I'm so arguing. I believe in you. You're the expert now. Whatever you say, I'm doing." So he started to optimize all of his listings, and he's crushing it now.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly actually the same thing I try to do when I open up a new account. I try to take 1 or 2 of their listings, make them really good, and show them what can be done. And I try to work that into an exclusive agreement. So it's really interesting to watch. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For some reason, a lot of people just don't care. We're in Amazon, so we see Amazon as everything. But for a lot of companies that are outside of Amazon, their biggest platforms are still retail stores. Right. Because even though Amazon has 50% of e-commerce, that's still only like 4 or 5% of all retail. So we always got to kind of keep that in mind, since we're in this and that's what we see all the time. Other people, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into a listing and just kind of go over what kind of things you do when a new customer comes to you, and that will give people an idea. Maybe they want to get your services. Maybe there's a company watching this that wants to improve their listings, or the people who are in the wholesale world and they want to help others or recommend to other people and be their expert. What kind of things do you see as having the biggest impact when you're improving a listing?
It's a combination of everything, because it's like a puzzle. It's like an Amazon listing is like a puzzle. If the whole puzzle is complete and there's 1 or 2 missing pieces, then it's also not going to work. But obviously, there's always like the most important parts of the puzzle. So obviously, the photos is very important, especially these days when a lot of people, I don't know how it's called, but people don't like to read. They don't have patience to read through titles and bullet points and descriptions, stuff like that. They make the decision over the images. So when we do it, we make sure. I mean, obviously, the main image we don't have a lot of options because Amazon's very limited and restricted to only white background. But on the other images, you can put the whole listing on all those images. Like basically, like have a combination of 7 images and really point out all the features, zoomed in, all the infographics and lifestyle to show how people are using it. Basically, the customer should feel like he's holding the product, he's in a store, he's holding the product, and he's feeling it. Mm-hmm. So that's very important. And then it's also important for the text because some people are more like text driven. So they usually read instead of looking at pictures. So that's why it's always important, the title and the bullet points especially, to be very eye-catching and make sure not to be too basic or too driven for the algorithm, like all those keywords and professional words. It has to be more like user-friendly, more like talking to all kinds of people. So as someone once said that, what is it saying again? It's basically, if a 10-year-old can't understand your product, like from the listing, then it's not it. Mm-hmm. So the problem is people try to be very professional, like put in all those high vocabulary words, but the problem is it doesn't work. It's not like after all, your customers are like random people that barely know English or people that know English, but they're not like a high vocabulary it has. So it's very important to be like very user-friendly and I don't know whatever the name is, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the average newspaper writes for like a 7th or 8th grade level. So that's probably a similar level we should write for on Amazon.
Exactly, yeah.
So with the photos, you're doing a lot of lifestyles and infographics in the photos for the secondary images.
So it's basically, we usually try to make a combination. So let's say, I mean, we have different packages. So for example, the top package includes 7 images. One is the main image, and then there's 6 graphic images. 3 of them are infographics, and 3 of them are lifestyle. I mean, obviously it depends on the product. Some products are more important than infographics and lifestyle, some opposite. So usually it's like an infographic showing the dimensions, showing all the features that you point out in the description, putting it on the photo so people can see right away all the main features. Mm-hmm. And then it's very important to have like a picture with all the zoomed in parts. I mean, it's not necessary for every product, but most products have like different angles, different size, different buttons, different parts. So it's important to zoom it in, especially if it's a material or something like that, to zoom in so people can see close up right away what it is. And then the lifestyle, it's basically making it fun, making it look exciting. Like people, if it's a kid-friendly product, a toy, and make like a happy kids are playing with it, and like parents are helping the kids with it, and like whatever. There's a lot of different options, different aspects you can do.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are you guys actually working with models and stuff like that, or are you doing the trick where you take the photo on a white background at a bunch of different angles and then placing it in another photo digitally?
Yeah, so in most cases we just do like white background photography, and then the graphic designers, we have very, very talented graphic designers that really know how to manipulate photos and basically take that photo and find the right stock photo and put it in their hands or on the table, stuff like that. So it looks really, it looks real. I mean, so most people will not realize that it's being done with graphics. It looks like it's been like shot originally with the models. Nice. So we don't really do models. Some, like here and there, we have certain products. It's very hard to put it like with graphics. So we need to hire models. There's an agency, whatever, models.
Pretty cool how they can do that, and that kind of stuff is important. That you have somebody good, because when they do that kind of stuff not well, it's very obvious and looks like awkward and not good. Yeah. So that kind of stuff, you need to have experienced graphic designers doing that stuff for sure.
And this is very tough because me as an agency, I'm always trying to find like the best talent, and sometimes I have to go through 10 people until I find one that is somewhat good, and we need to train them in to be better. So it's like it's very rare to find like a really professional. I mean, obviously they're probably much more, but it's probably more expensive, which it's not worth it. But in most cases, it's like in graphic designers, you really have to find like a pin in the hole, basically, to find the right talent that really know how to manipulate photos and make it look real.
Mm-hmm. So, for sure. Very good. So obviously photos Photos are very important. Like you said, a lot of people don't even read anything more than the title. And that's just enough to get them to click on it, and then they look at the photos. So when you guys are working with the title, back in the day, the thought was to basically use every character available in the title and just stuff it full of keywords. How are you guys working it today as far as building out a title?
So these days it's mainly like 200 characters, right? Mm-hmm. Some categories have 80, whatever, depending on the category. But in most cases, it's 200. So usually we try to fill up the 200. 200 is not allowed. Sometimes when you want to describe something, and then all of a sudden, oh wow, you're over the limit. Mm-hmm. So we basically try to make it as a combination of have like keywords for the SEO written, and then also like sales copy, because it's also very important. Some people are very focused on the keywords and the title, but they forget that it's also the first thing that a customer is seeing. So a customer is not the algorithm; it's a human being. It's a human. So it has to catch their eyes and their mind when they see the title. So it's besides on the keywords that you put just for the algorithm, just to this, you also have to make sure that, let's say, the main features or the main benefit of your product should be in the title. So a customer can see, oh, that's what I'm looking for, and then he goes in and makes his decision.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember, because a lot of people just think about putting keywords in there, but that's really like your first thing that is getting someone to click, because if they don't click over to your listing, they're not going to see any of the extra fancy photos or anything like that. Of course, that main photo plays a role in that as well, but the title has to be enticing to get somebody to click over.
Yeah, and I'm thinking now, especially these days, the last few weeks, Amazon is very strict with having text or icons on the main photo. Back in the days, you could have added like a title or a nice graphic on the main photo to make it more appealing, but now it has to be strictly just white background. So it's more important to have like a good sales copy in the title to convince a customer to go into your listing.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to the photos for a second, because I just thought of something, and I've seen this and heard various people say different things about it. What are your thoughts on that main image? Like, let's say you have a bunch of different colors of the product, of putting those colors, different colors off to the side, just real small.
There's like a swatch or something it's called. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
you guys recommend doing that, or?
Yeah, this is very important because for example, for myself, when I'm going on Amazon, I want to buy something and I like a certain color and I don't see it on the main photo. I'm just passing by. I'm not going to go in to see if they have more colors. So this is very important to have it on the main image, like a few small like dots or squares, whatever, showing that inside is more.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well. And technically, that's against Amazon's terms of service, but I can't imagine that Amazon would get all that upset about it, because it really is helpful to a customer. Just as myself shopping on Amazon, when I see that, right, I know like, okay, yeah, that's the color that I'm actually looking for, so I can actually click in and look at it. Have you had anybody get in trouble for that at all?
No, it's funny because since we find out that Amazon doesn't allow text or anything like that, we had a few clients that really wanted to have the color swatches, and then we're trying their luck. In case it's a problem, we'll take it off. But so this feature didn't cause any issues. It was only like the text mainly, basically.
Yeah, I have seen on Amazon lately, though, a few listings where I'll be looking to buy something, and Amazon underneath the photo will actually put the different colors, like little color dots underneath it. So it may be a feature that they're working on internally as well.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay, interesting. That should be very helpful.
Maybe that'll be coming, and then they'll crack down on people who put it in the pictures. It's hard to say, but I think worst case scenario, they'll just take down the listing for a second, and you'll have to change the photo. But
it's not that bad. It's not like a problem.
Yeah, they're not going to shut down your listing or anything. So for the bullets, what are you guys recommending there currently in Amazon?
So the bullet is also interesting because obviously we always start each bullet point with a capital or like one phrase in capital, so the customer can see right away. Okay, this bullet point talks about this particular benefit, a feature.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard lately also Amazon is like making issues of having capital words. I mean, I didn't hear of them like closing listings because of that, but I think some sellers receive like a warning email.
I heard the same.
It's weird because it's so helpful having an icon. Even the icon, the emoji is also helpful. I mean, some people think like it looks Chinese, but it's not true. I mean, first of all, the 5 bullet points is so squeezed. It's like there's no space in between the bullet points, so it looks like one whole paragraph. So when you add the emoji, it makes. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a colorful emoji. It can be like a star or a check mark, something like that. Basically, to split them up to show that it's clearly 5 bullet points. And also, I'm not sure where this is going about the capital, but it's going to be a big hit if they take away the capital phrase.
Yeah, that's pretty popular. Most listings that look nice have that, and I do that with all my listings. So it'll be interesting. I mean, personally, I think it's a benefit to the customer. Amazon may see it differently. They've got their internal data to suggest whatever is best, but we'll see. Right now, I think the bullet points are not featured very well on mobile anyways. The bullet points are actually below the description. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. On desktop, they're like prominent, and then the description is 12 pages down, and you'll never see that. But and mobile, they put it above the bullets. It's really weird, but that's Amazon. They've got their internal data on what sells the best, and something must have told them that was better.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking it's possible that they're going to cut the limit per bullet point. It's possible that they want it to be like one short line. Mm-hmm. To be, I don't know, but it's weird how they're.
Yeah, that I think would make sense to shorten the character count there, because some people go crazy. It's like a book.
It's disgusting. They have like 500 characters per bullet point. It looks like a whole book, like a journal.
How many characters are you guys usually using?
So it comes out to an average of like around between 200 and 300 characters per bullet point. It's like in between. It's like, I think it's like 2-3 lines per bullet point on the desktop.
Okay. And now in the past, I've read and heard that to lead with benefits and back it up with features. Is that something that you guys do as well?
Yeah, so that's also we changed a few years ago, I think. We obviously started with just putting like the feature and then describing the feature, but then we switched it. We realized that the people are more driven to benefits versus the feature. For example, instead of writing 100% cotton and big and then writing the benefits of cotton, you start out with writing the benefit of cotton, which is, I don't know, sweat-free or, stop sweating at night, something like that. It's because it's 100% cotton, that's it can be in small. So the main highlight should be like the benefits, so people can see, oh, wow, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I need.
Yep, the problem that you're solving.
Solving the problem. Yes.
People don't buy anything because it's 100% cotton. They buy it because that 100% cotton is going to solve some problem that they have, or is something that they think they need for whatever reason. So, yeah, I think that's really important. Unless, there may be some areas where features are more important, like if it's some kind of, I don't know, thinking of something right now, but something that's very like feature oriented, maybe a measuring tape or something.
Yeah, it's also usually about the electronics. They have like all the specifications, like all this, for example, cameras, the megapixel.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's
yeah, and those kind of things, like a camera, the features are the benefits a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, very good. What else do we got in the listing that you guys work on? We've hit the images, title, and bullets, description, of course. You guys put much work into a description?
Yes, we actually do. Obviously, there's 2 options. One is the HTML option with just the text, and then there's the EVC. So for the HTML, is also very important. Some people think it's just a description, so they just put like either one phrase or something. But whenever we do it, it also has like a limit of 2,000 characters. So we usually try to fill up the whole thing, and it's not like a one big thing. We try to make it like split it up between a few phrases, a few paragraphs, and starting with like a question, a pain point question. It's really getting the customer into the story of the product, and then explaining each feature, and then we add like a list of all features, like bullet points, like small short bullet points, so people can see right away all the features. So we usually try to spread it out so it looks like a whole big description. It's easy to read, and it explains the product really well. It has all of the codes, all of the HTML codes in the back end to split it up to make it look nice.
Yeah, and that's another thing that technically is against Amazon's service, but it's one of those things that I think as long as you do it right, it makes it more beneficial for the customer and probably won't be an issue. Of course, there's always the people that go crazy, and that's why Amazon clamps down on stuff. But for the most part, I think it's beneficial. I try to stick to just like line breaks and bold and maybe lists. Do you guys do anything more than that?
No, it's basically line breaks, which is like because also the Amazon listing especially on desktop, is so wide. It's very hard to read from one line to the other. So we usually try to break it up. So the whole description is only on the left side of the page. Okay. So it's easy to read like this instead of like this, you know. So we break it up. So that's the breakup, and then we have like the bold. Obviously, every title is in bold. And then there's like the space between, I don't know, it's called like the paragraph. In between each paragraph, there's like a pause.
Yeah, it makes it a lot better looking. I've always found it interesting, kind of another indication that for some reason, I think Amazon values the description more than the bullet points, which is strange, is that in the back end, when you're editing a listing, if you do not put bullets in, Amazon doesn't care, but if you don't put a description in, they'll like suppress your listing.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Which is strange.
Because officially they're saying that the bullet points has a stronger thing for the algorithm, also for the keywords, and then they're trying to ask you to do the description, which doesn't have so much weight.
Really interesting, that's for sure. So what else do you guys recommend that brands do aside from what we've already talked about?
Yeah, so obviously the description part. So if a brand has brand registry, which everyone should have, I mean, it's pretty easy to have this these days, which you can apply for a trademark through Amazon's, I think it's IP Accelerator, which you can apply for it and have brand registry, which in 2 weeks, I think, or a month. Yeah, so that's very helpful, and I think every brand should definitely invest in that. And it's first to have brand registry. I mean, brand registry has so much features, so much benefits. So let's talk about the EBC. So the EBC, I mean, now it's called the A+ content description. It's also very important. So it's basically the top images. You know, I told you we usually like put in like all this infographics and lifestyle. On the EBC, the A+, you have so much space. Like you have so much more real estate to really elaborate on all those images and graphics and text, and you can make it so beautiful. It looks like the way we do it looks like a whole like homepage of a website. You know, see like the products and titles and all this.
Yeah, that's exactly how I usually describe it to people as well. You can make it look like a website, basically.
Yes.
Nice. Do you guys measure and track the differences? Do you see a significant difference using the EBC, the enhanced brand content?
No, we don't really check it because the way we work is that we don't really monitor or manage the listings. We basically create the content and then we send it over to the seller, and the seller takes care of the rest. Okay. So we don't always follow up with them, but most of the time we hear back from the sellers that it really helped. It really helped the conversion rate and obviously the sales. So we can definitely see the benefits of it.
Good. Yeah, I've heard from Amazon. On Amazon's end, they claim about a 5% boost in conversions when you add that in there. So definitely, if you have brand registry, that's important. Now, you guys are doing videos as well for people? So
videos, we're not into that yet because, some people, they don't want to spend the money yet because videos is still new, so people are not so convinced. But it's getting more into it. But video, right now we work with video companies that we like collaborate together, and they create videos for us. But hopefully soon we'll get into it and add it to the packages.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I think that's going to become more and more important, especially Amazon now has like the Amazon Live for doing like live infomercials and stuff like that. So I think they're trying to go that direction with more video built into the platform. All right. What else? What other kind of things do you guys recommend people do with a listing when you guys are fixing them up?
Yeah. So for the creative part, that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously the back end, the keywords, the search terms, and subject matter, stuff like that, which is very important. But that's part of writing the listings. I don't know if you want to discuss that, or
yeah. How much work do you guys put into the back end? Do you literally go through everything and fill everything that could possibly be related to the product?
No, we don't do everything because we saw in the numbers that it doesn't really make a huge difference, that it should be worth it. But the main thing we do is the search terms, which is the 249 characters in the back, and sometimes we do the subject matters and target audience, which me personally, I didn't see like a real big difference. I mean, maybe people do see, but for my clients, I didn't see a big difference. And so we try to focus more on the search terms, which is basically, after creating the whole listing, all the title and bullet point and the description, we take all of the leftover keywords and we try to brainstorm keywords that can relate to the product, but it's not the product itself, and we put it in the back end. So in case a customer is searching for it, they should find it. For example, I usually use this example because we did a listing for someone selling like forks, like plastic forks. Mm-hmm. We obviously made sure to put like the spoons and knives in the back end, because usually when people are searching for that, they're usually searching for the whole package. So it's always important to put all types of cutlery or like cups and plates in there, so it's one family.
Yeah, things that could be related to your product.
And also, obviously, there's Spanish keywords, like because there's a lot of people that are searching with Spanish words, and misspelling is also very important, because especially these days when people are buying on their phone, the typos or it happens in all the stores. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that you come up for everything. Anything that a customer might search, you should come up.
Yeah, I think the Spanish keywords are important. I'm glad you brought that up because, a lot of people, in the U.S. Speak Spanish as their primary language, and they're just going to Amazon.com and typing that in right in there. So that can make a big difference for some products, for sure. And you don't necessarily want to put that in the front end, but in the search terms, that would make really good sense. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So we've pretty much covered everything for a listing. Is there anything else that you guys help clients with that you've seen make a big difference?
Yeah, I mean, so basically once the listing is completed, it looks nice, everything's ready to go. For example, it's like you build a store, and once the store is completely built, it's ready to customers, then you start with the marketing, which is like advertising, and mainly what we do is it's called giveaways. I mean, similar to like Amazon, I used to have their own giveaway thing and stuff. We basically help the listing to get to to the first page quicker than it usually takes. So it's not like giveaways or something like a black hat. It's more like it's basically it's product listing awareness. Basically, getting people to know that this is a new listing. It's like you open a new shop in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You want to start promoting, like do some giveaways, do some sales to get people aware of it, of your store. So same thing is with the listing. You have to make people aware that your listing is here and people are looking for it, and you have to show for Amazon that people are looking for it and people are buying it. So that's how they bring you up.
When you're doing giveaways, are you like running ads on Facebook for a giveaway, or just utilizing your current email list? Or?
Yeah, so we have a group. We have a group of people from all over the U.S. and they're interested in basically buying products, and basically to tell the customer. Sometimes it's also helpful to tell the seller like what's wrong with the product, how can I improve it. So for that, it's also valuable. But so the group is basically from all over the US, and we usually have sales are spread out over like a week or 2 weeks just to give it a big boost, a big blast. Mm-hmm. and bring it up, and then you can start getting organic sales and move on from there.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, what are your thoughts on like the Vine program, where you're giving away product through Amazon in exchange for reviews, and as well as the early reviewer program? Do you guys use those at all?
So, I mean, part of the giveaways is also the reviews, which is, I mean, the same people are buying it, and they also have the option to leave reviews. But in most cases, we try not to post reviews, because it's we try not to go against Amazon's this. But some sellers, they don't mind taking the risk, and it's up to them basically. If they want to do it, then they can do it. But it's not something that we push to do. Okay. But obviously, it's very important, because otherwise you can wait weeks or years until you get maybe 20 reviews. So this is like a quick way to get like reviews quicker.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that Amazon cracked down on people giving product away for reviews and then started their own program.
Exactly, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted to point out. So first they scream, hey, you're manipulating fake reviews, and here you offer the same program, the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not a hypocrite. I don't know.
It's interesting. The early reviewer program, which is basically helps you get your first 5 reviews, at least that they're just like sending that request out to people who naturally bought the product. But the Vine program is like no different than what everybody used to do, where they'd be like, here, take my product for free. Just give me a review.
Right. Exactly.
It's kind of funny. A little bit disappointing, but to be expected. Amazon wants to control it. Right now it's free, but of course they're going to start charging for it at some point, and then they'll make money off of it. The Vine program, anyways. The early reviewer, I think, is $60 to do that. So it's interesting. I use the early reviewer program usually if I'm selling a product that is selling decently but doesn't have those 5 reviews yet. I'll take advantage of that, just try to get some more reviews. The Vine program, I'm trying that for the first time with a new bundle that I launched. So we'll see how that goes. So far, I think I've got like 4 reviews on it, and one of them was not good. One was kind of in the middle, and the other ones were 5 stars. So we'll see how it plays out.
That's also the problem with the Vine reviews, that you can't really control. You don't really know what you're going to get. You might get 5 1 stars, if the product is really bad. So it's like it's a gamble.
Yeah, one of them was, I'm like, really? So he did it through the Vine program. He got the product free.
Free, yeah.
The review was that the bundle cost too much. That's why he gave me 2 stars or something.
And he got it for free.
Really? You got it for free, man. Come on. Okay. I guess at least he's being honest that he thinks the price was too high. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But all right. So I think this has been really helpful for people, not only if they want to build out their own listings, but also in the beginning where we talked about, your kind of journey, and people can kind of see that journey in themselves. If people want to use your guys' services, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So first of all, it's our website, which is www.bestsellerlisters.com.
Yep, I'll throw the link in the description.
Okay. Sure. And then I have WhatsApp. So obviously we have the email, which is obvious, but then we have WhatsApp. What stands out is because people like the convenience of anyways on their phone, they're anyways using WhatsApp, so they like the convenience of having a company that can just voice note and send pictures and messages back and forth. So that's what we also do. We have like a dedicated WhatsApp for business, and we communicate with clients over there, and we send out we also on the status, I usually send out like the latest news, updates, tips and tricks about Amazon, so sellers can stay up to date with the latest trends and news about Amazon.
Okay, perfect. How do they get on your email list?
So it's not an email list, it's the WhatsApp. I mean, the email list is also, you will add the email address, which is I send out every week like a weekly newsletter, also about like a recap of all the news and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you'll add the email address in the description. And then in the WhatsApp, the number is 845-288-1010. 1740. I guess you can also add the link. There's like a WhatsApp link. You can go directly to the phone. Yeah, so basically you have to subscribe, save the contact in your contacts, and you start seeing the statuses, and you can contact us anytime with any questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at your guys' website over here. It looks like if they go to bestsellerlisters.com, scroll to the bottom, you have your WhatsApp down there as well. Yes. So that's pretty cool. You're actually sending like tips through the WhatsApp channel then?
Yeah, so WhatsApp has the option of status. Basically, it's like Instagram, the stories. WhatsApp has that on status. So you basically can go on there and just watch, like stay up to date. So I have many sellers that they just basically go onto the WhatsApp, and if they want to know anything that happens with Amazon, any news and any updates that they published, I usually find that and I publish it there so people can stay up to date.
Nice. That's awesome. That's the first I've heard of someone doing that. So that's pretty cool little marketing tech.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. All right. Well, Mac, I appreciate you coming on the show. I think we've got a lot of really good information. I appreciate it.
Yeah, same here. It was a lot of fun. And I hope your audience will enjoy it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. You have a great one.
You too.
This has been another episode of the Entrepreneur Adventure Podcast. Thanks for listening, fellow entrepreneur, and always remember, success is yours if you take it.